Ever felt lost online finding the right businesses?
Absolutely, like a needle in a haystack.
Introducing the Worldwide Awake Business Directory.
Tell me more.
It's your hub for businesses sharing your values. Discover eco-friendly products, socially responsible services, and more.
Count me in. I'll check it out straight away.
Find businesses aligned with your values on the Worldwide Awake Business Directory. Start making a difference with every purchase.
And thank you for joining us on The One Thing on Edge Radio Australia and listening all over the world, wherever you are. It's so great to have you here. And I'm really excited today to introduce our special guest, Jason Cobley. I did pronounce that correctly. It's Cobley,
Cobley.
not... Oh, it is Cobley. I said it correct before, and I got it right the first time. Yeah. And then I was really nervous and I couldn't remember. So sorry about that, Jason. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Jason before I acknowledge our co-host for today. So our special guest, Jason, hails from Western Australia. He's a devoted father, writer, event organiser and occasional conspiracy theorist. Jason lives a double life. By day, he navigates the mundane, normal world, but by night, he dives into spaces where people can discuss the most out there topics without sounding insane. For several years, he's been an active member of the unjabbed communities in Perth, and over the past year, he's taken on a leadership role organising events and helping to grow and sustain the community. The world changed in 2020 and so did Jason's life, but one thing remains constant, his determination to face whatever comes next with laughter and resilience. Now, you may have noticed that Aaron's and my normal co-host, Leanne Jones, is not with us today. She's off
We've had
camping.
enough. We can't put up with her any longer. Yeah, she's outside. We locked the door. I'll be honest. That's what happened. Yeah.
She's not with us today, but we're really lucky to have filling in for her, our co-host, Rachel Jacob. So thank you for joining us. It's really lovely to have you here. And maybe before you let everyone know the key factors about our topic today, maybe you could just share a little bit about yourself, Rachel, how you became part of this Awake community.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Aaron, for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thanks to Leanne for giving me a spot. Yeah, look, I was part of all the protests and part of the group who sort of stood up throughout the pandemic going, I don't think things are entirely fair. I didn't lose my job, but I know that there were a lot of professional nurses, doctors and just everyday people who, were penalised for not taking an experimental you-know-what. So that sort of got me started and woke me up to a lot of things. And, yep, I've been living in the normie world like you, Jason. And it's just phenomenal to meet people who have realised what's been going on and what I would consider out-creating the situation. So I'm excited about opening Pandora's box on Awake communities. I think it's the way of the future, and I'm really excited about Jason giving us his take on that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what exactly is an Awake community, do you feel, Jason?
Well, I kind of feel there's different types of them, and I've been involved in several. I mean, there were Awake communities before COVID and stuff like that. I mean, they're probably pretty small and talking about aliens and, I don't know, the Illuminati, whatever. But I guess it's morphed into different things. Like early on, I was more involved in the prepper side of things. Right. And it got pretty dark for a while in 2020, 2021. And some of us were theorising what we'd do if the government came for us for not having the jab, remember the
Those
camps?
camps, right?
Yeah, well, the camps, there's a lot of threat there, so, and looking back, you could laugh at it now, some of the stuff that was a bit over, that's talking in hindsight, though. So I was more involved in the prepper side of things, and there were, the freedom cells, and then the offshoot of that are MAG groups, mutual aid groups.
What are mutual aid groups?
It's a bit like if Freedom Cell, a guy called Derek Bros in America made them. They're I think it's 7 people, hardcore preppers. They work in a small cell to help each other in like an apocalyptic situation.
Maybe just explain for our listeners, because not everyone will understand the terminology, what a prepper is.
Okay, prepper is somewhat, I mean, there's different levels of prepping. The basic prepper will just have a month's worth of food and water and other supplies. Toilet paper, I guess, was pretty important.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, look, that was worth more than gold for a period there, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then, you got your ultra hardcore preppers that have got like Geiger counters, gas masks, underground bunker systems, and, those type of stuff, and 10 years worth of food. But, I mean, I was nothing like that. And, I just was a general prepper, I suppose, and had some equipment. And
I didn't even know there were levels.
Okay.
I had no idea how
You
many.
got your extreme
Did you
end
know
and
there were levels?
There's
Aaron?
nuance in everything in the world, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, what do you consider yourself to be as awake? Everybody's got a different opinion.
Yeah, so
we all
true.
kind of fit into a different... Well, actually, no, we don't fit into categories. That's probably the beauty of what we're about, I guess. And, I can sit here and I can very comfortably say, I think all of us here would have different ideas on what is a prepper or what level of prep you should have or how awake you should be. And I'm very open to it. I think it's great that we're all different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and levels of awareness kind of affect that, don't they?
No doubt about it. Yeah. So, I meet people who have gone way down the rabbit hole, right? And good on them, man, if they've got some information. But I've got a little theory on that. I throw the rope down. I go down a little bit. I have a bit of a look and go, no. I'm going to get out for a while.
I'm with you.
That's where I'm at.
I'm with you.
Yeah, and I think, that's...
Too dark.
That's where I'm comfy. And then occasionally I grab the rope and I have another look. We go a little deeper than last time. But I think that, I think it's important to recognise we're all at different levels. And that I think we should be inclusive of everybody who's in that sort of journey, if you like.
Yeah. So the Freedom Cells are just a small group of preppers, and it was good if you had different skill sets and stuff like that. They were hard to get off the ground. I did hear there were some groups in Perth doing that, but they were underground. They kept to themselves.
Sure.
And then MAG Group was an offshoot, very similar, but it's a mutual aid group. You'd help each other prep or just in the garden or whatever. And, a lot of them were planning for if things got really bad and they were threatening to kick us out of society, all sorts of crazy stuff. That looks a bit silly now, maybe.
Which wasn't so crazy then, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't so crazy.
No.
Very slide.
Well, you did mention it before. They built a facility for us. Out there in Bullsbrook. I actually got offered accommodation there, and I neglect. Well, I'm not going to do it. Absolutely no way in the world.
Us being those who chose not to accept an experimental jab, just to clarify for everyone, that's us.
But again, there's not an us and them as far as I'm concerned. Some people will feel that way, but I think that again, we're talking about a life of community, right? These different groups are communities ultimately, right? So I think we should be welcoming of people who are different sort of levels, and I love the fact of a community getting together. Okay, I've got these skills, you've got these skills. Let's all put it together. I think it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
There's another group that ran side to that. They were very secretive, so I might not say the name on here, but their goal, and I guess the goal of MAG and Freedom Cells, is to also create a parallel society where you trade and do a lot of share skills outside the system and have an underground thing. But the difficulty that we often found there is a lot of these groups are secret. So it was hard to know who was doing what and who had what skills.
So secret.
Sure.
Yeah, and everyone was afraid the government was going to come after us, so there was no central database.
Yes.
And that has actually been a pretty difficult thing to... in more recent times, a lot of stuff's on Facebook these days, so everything's out there. But
that's
in the
not
old
very
days,
secret.
A lot of stuff was the underground stuff, and it was just difficult. And I think that was part of the reason we never got really far ahead in the parallel society.
Sure.
We wanted off the grid markets, but you still got to abide by laws and other things as well. So it was always difficult. And there are some off the grid markets I know of on off the grid camps, and they do stuff outside the system, and I think that's good, and I try to get involved in that type of stuff. There's the prepper side of things, but even early on I was meeting up because I became single in 2021, so
it seems like there was quite a few of us.
Yeah. I think some single people are maybe more motivated to get out and meet each other as well, I suppose. So there's actually a lot of homeschooling groups and other
There's
stuff
been
like
a
that as well. That are
huge surge in homeschooling, hasn't there?
I wish I could do it, but I got to work and so does Nick. So that one's a bit hard, but I do support it. And So there's all different awake groups, but the ones I'm mainly in these days, or one of them's a auspicious awake unjabbed singles, which is a singles group.
Yep.
There's a lot happens in that, and then unjabbed events, which is more a general unjabbed group.
Yep.
So these are more mainstream awake groups, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
So you still got, They're not
Yeah.
they're not focused on conspiracy, not focused on prepping or anything. It's just bringing people together. It's
Bringing
Like-minded
like-minded people together,
Yeah,
and I'd just like to say and give you kudos. I've only been more active in that group the last couple of months, and that's how you and I got connected. And then Rachel and I actually attended the New Year's event that you were very instrumental in organising, as I understand it.
somewhat,
And I am on Facebook and I am in that group, so I do see how active you are in that group. And I know from one organiser to another, it's no mean feat. It's a lot of work that goes on in the background. So I just wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Okay. Well, I better mention some names here. Kerry Lugden actually does some of the background work in unjabbed events.
Brilliant.
She's a great organiser.
Good on you, Kerry.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee, who started Auspicious, and this is, I've been part of that group since maybe 2021.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even during the mandates, we went places a few times where not that we weren't allowed, it was just places that weren't asking for the vaccine passport, and you could have a beer and dance and stuff like that. I was involved in other groups that were trying to get past the vaccine, but probably doesn't matter if I'm saying this now, I'm not going to get arrested. So.
Look.
How
Here come the guys with the cuffs. Right.
Yeah.
How did it, sorry to cut you off, how did it make you feel as a person that was excluded to all of a sudden be in this world that you had to show a passport to be allowed in the local pub where you used to be able to go freely?
Probably the most profound one was when I went to a musical event in Rockingham, and you had to show that you're triple jabbed to get into the gates.
Wow.
So me and a bunch of other unjabbed people, some of them I knew, we sat outside the gate, outside the fence. They brought security to sit in front of us, and we just watched it from outside. And then
Well, you're clearly a dangerous man. I can see that, right?
I was going to spread the plague, basically. So.
Unbelievable.
But it was nice. It was
If you
just
were sitting
cool.
down,
We
you
were
were
around
okay though.
like-minded
That's right.
like-minded people, and we knew who, there was us and them a bit, I guess, which is a
absolutely.
good feeling. But
Yeah.
that was, and it was pretty crazy time in my life, I suppose. We'd only recently separated, and I was trying to find a place to live, and I had no income because I'd lost my job because of the mandates. And
Wow.
so it was a bit stressful, but that was probably the most profound. But I did sit in a subway once, and I didn't get asked the passport, and I just sat there eating. And I'm just thinking, there's a thing on the table there saying that you had to show proof of vaccine to sit here, and I just thought, this is absolutely crazy. Is this
You're
real?
in a different world, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had the feel that I've gotten that we've crossed paths with another dimension or something.
Well, I think to me,
yes, that's a really
I
good
agree
way
with
of
you.
putting
And I
it.
think we got, growing up, often I used to think about social causes and that. And I would think about, 30s Germany. And I think,
Yes.
how could that have, how could it happen? How could people turn a blind eye? How
Surreal.
could that happen?
Yeah.
And now we know, right? Now we know.
Now
We've
we
now
know.
seen, we've had
Yeah.
the full demonstration of how it works. I want to just take a quick little opportunity to thank the people who are jumping online left, right and centre. It's great to see. So hi to Lisa. Lovely to see you, Lisa. Another Lisa. Gary, good to see all the way over there in NZ, mate. Oh, look.
Have a
Fantastic.
kiwi.
Represent.
Yeah, got to love the
Watching
Kiwis.
from
Tell
New
you right
Zealand,
now.
fantastic. Hi, Gary.
And a great thing about Kiwis and Aussies, let's face it, we can never stop pulling the mickey out of each other, right? That's our DNA. The moment we stop doing that, we've got a problem. G'day to Trish as well. I'm going to bring these comments up as we go. Great, as I say, all these people. There we go. Katie as well. Lovely to see
Because the
you.
awake community they're not spectators.
They're active, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go through a couple of these comments, if I may. I want to bring them up on the big screen so we can actually answer them. Let's have a look. So we've got from Trish. Okay, all of the unvaccinated have stepped up outside of their comfort zone. A great outcome from something so wicked.
Wicked, yeah.
Great comment. What are your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, it's I don't know if I've met her, but yeah, it's great that there's people commenting and that we're a pretty close-knit community, really, so more people should join us, really.
100%.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So whilst we talk about that, for those watching that perhaps don't understand, what is an awake community? How would you best describe it to somebody that has perhaps what are they talking about?
Well, I suppose these days my perception of it's changed because of the different groups I've been in. But I guess the more mainstream awake community these days, I think, is people, well, I guess in my case, I mean, they don't even have to be unjabbed, I suppose. You can be pretty awake and got the jab for different reasons. So I guess open to the ideas that things aren't as they seem. I mean, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down. It's like, I don't exactly know what I define as awake, but at least if you don't believe the system is like they say it is, and that things aren't as they say it is, and you're open to other ideas, and yeah, I mean, some of them are pretty far out there. Ideas,
yeah, they are. But okay, I think the difference is I will still sit, and I'm speaking for myself here, but I think I'm also speaking for a lot of other people. We'll still listen to other people's ideas, and they might be completely outside our warehouse, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, people could be talking about, I don't know, flat Earth or something like that I would have just dismissed in an absolute second before. And now I'll kind of go, okay, you know, I'll hear you out. I don't actually agree with that, okay? I've got friends who are very strong in that world. That's what they think. No worries. Guess what? We can still be mates. That's the secret to this.
Yeah, we're willing to communicate regardless, hey?
Yeah. Well, I think that's about, because there's so many different views. I mean, there's the vegans, and now there's carnivores coming along. And
well, see, I draw the line at vegans.
Well, there's a lot of vegans, so yeah.
Rachel, how would you describe an awake community?
Yeah, look, I think we talk about the system, but I think it's quite intelligent people realising that we're being lied to. They're not doing these things in our favour. They're doing it as vested interests, lining their pockets, lining their mates' pockets. You know, healthcare is about making people ill. So the pharmaceutical company ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching for the rest of your life. So I consider the awake community to be some very aware people who are willing to do the research.
Critical thinkers.
Yes,
What we
you.
should be. Well, you need to like, okay, trust the science. What is science? Science is questioning things.
That's right.
You should be you should be curious. You want to know more. Like, if you take things at face value, I mean, look, okay, it's, you know, what you'll need yourself. You need yourself a pardon, right? Okay, I mean, look what's happened in the last few days. Honestly, we've got sociopathic criminals who are being pardoned for completely misleading hundreds of millions of people, right? And they wouldn't be getting pardons unless they were guilty. Let's be absolutely frank. We've actually had, this is concrete as far as I'm concerned. This is a concession that people have said, hey, yeah, we're guilty, right? Now, again, I don't want it to be an us and them kind of situation. I want everybody in humanity to get along, right?
Sure.
That's what we need. But having said that, I see so many people out there who were, you know, hardcore on the other side, and they got 4 jabs and all that kind of carry on. Well, guess what? They're the people coming up to me in shopping centres and starting conversations, right? It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's a great awakening. The horrible COVID carry on, the great Wu flu buddy, you know, scam that it was. It's actually a positive.
Good. Let me ask.
It has been a positive, yes.
Jason, and I'll share first. For me, I really only woke up in 21. I was going to say 1920, but in 2021, so only for a few years. What about you, Jason? I know a lot of people have been decades.
Maybe I shouldn't admit this on here. I've always been somewhat awake.
Just say you don't want to answer if you don't want to.
No, it's not. It's not the bad way.
Come on, tell us,
In the
Jason.
late 90s.
You'll end up like Leanne, knocked out. Okay, come on.
In the late 90s, I was still at high school, I suppose. So I forgot
Oh,
myself.
I love your dad from Caleb.
I know, that's why I just brought it up. I think it's from Caleb.
Oh, that's from my son, yeah.
Great to see that, but I was waiting until you saw it. I just thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, in the late 90s. Yeah, it's my son. Late 90s, I was actually part of I joined the Communist Party, and we were on the underground communist meetings and stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
A long time.
Yeah, it was a long time ago now. I'm totally not that now. So, but, you know, they were talking about a worldwide revolution and all this stuff. I don't know if that's considered awake or not.
Well,
these days,
apparently
but it was
they
definitely
went
a
through with
minority.
it.
Yeah. Well, sort of, yeah.
Because aren't we in, like, virtually a communist society now?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you know, the fact of the Labor Party in Australia, like, everyone thinks, oh, it's for the worker. No, it's not. It's a socialist party, right? And socialism is communism light, okay? It's the gateway drug into communism. And I appreciate, here's the thing, like, I appreciate that you said, you know, you did the communism thing, because I get
For
it.
a few years, yeah.
Because I get it, because you care about other people, right?
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
don't want people to suffer. And there's, okay, the ideals of it is actually quite beautiful, that people don't get left behind.
Yeah.
unfortunately, you know, the reality is it's a structure of power.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
and the people right at the top still oppress, and the people down the bottom probably get oppressed more through communism. So it's a very evil thing, and when we see it happening in this very country,
Yeah.
Well, I was going to add to, like, because I had that perspective and I read, like, 10 Days That Shook the World, a lot
yeah.
of the communist stuff in Das Kapital, some of that, and the Engels stuff, Communist Manifesto, sort of gave me insight into the mindset of a lot of the modern communist,
Yes.
far left, whatever you want to call them. So I can see where they come from and why they believe they're doing good, even though a lot of it's bad. And, you know, it's a lot of stuff I didn't think of back then. We're talking over 20 years ago now. You know, to actually make such a society, you'd have to destroy freedom and force a lot of people to do things they might not want to do, basically. So
But
that
Jason-
gave me insight. So
Yeah.
I think I was somewhat awake, and then later on, I woke up.
And then you're
20 years ago.
educated to be able to see
Yeah, yeah.
what's
What
So I
about
going
you,
majored
on.
in
Rachel?
history helps, yeah.
So,
How long have you been awake?
about the same as you. I thought the government was here to look after us, and you know, I really, you know, I was really in the matrix, as some people might say.
Are you comfortable sharing your story briefly about?
Oh,
If you're not, that's fine.
well,
Well, you jumped on a plane looking for answers,
yeah,
didn't you?
yeah. I went to New Zealand. I went to South Africa. Thought, what is it just here? You know how people can get a bit excited and talk things up. And I thought, you know, maybe over in Aussie where, you know, it's a bit hardcore here, but it's probably not really happening other places. And I go to New Zealand and whoa,
That was probably a bad choice.
that's my hometown, and I'm like, what is this? This is not what I thought I was growing up with.
no, you think of Kiwis as
Jacinta.
being so laid back, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in the entertainment industry forever, okay? And you know what you'll find in the whole entertainment industry? Kiwis left, right and centre, right?
Yep.
Okay, it's fantastic. And again, that camaraderie of Australians versus Kiwis
Yeah.
versus of having fun with each other. It's always been a really wonderful thing. And I watched my Kiwi bloody brothers and sisters getting oppressed and pushed down, and I'm watching them be minimalised, and it hurt from that point of view. And people
Yeah.
I worked with, people who are really close friends here in Australia, who went home
Yeah.
thinking it was going to be better.
Yes.
Oh my word! Like couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
And the funny thing was, people in another country watched us thinking, wow, it's really bad there.
Particularly Melbourne.
Yeah, but not realising that it was really bad right where they were. There's all these degrees of propaganda.
Yep.
And it's very cleverly rolled out. I have to take my hat off to them, because it was, you know, like any marketing that you do,
Sure.
you market to that country or that culture, and that's exactly what they did. South Africa, they had a different way of packaging it.
Yep.
New Zealand, a different way of packaging it. Here, a different way of packaging it.
Well, they did
Blew
that
my
state
mind.
by state too, because
Yes.
WA
So
got
true.
it different from New South
That's
Wales
right.
and
Yeah.
Victoria. So yeah,
Yeah, because we respond differently.
yeah.
I mean, I was incredibly disappointed with my state here in Western Australia. The fact that that you govern me harder, daddy routine, right? I just can't. It blows my mind. I couldn't believe
Yeah.
people were so quick to comply to something that was so very clearly very, very wrong, right? And it just shows the conditioning. Still to this day, I mean, obviously I watch a lot of media and I take a lot of things in. And I've been watching, since the last few days with Trump getting in, and I've watched the stories from 9, from 7, from the ABC, utter lies about what's going on in the US, right?
Yeah.
Like 180 degrees. Now, I feel sorry for people who that's all they consume. That's what they consume. They see these now the commercial stations that, well, not even commercial stations, the corporate stations. They are businesses, and we work on the principle. They do. We certainly don't. But the media industry works on the principle: if it bleeds, it leads. Right. So
Right.
they want controversy. They want hatred.
Yes.
You need hatred to make money. Right. And of course, that's something we're trying to fight and be exactly the opposite to that. So that's our kind of thing.
And to keep people in fear.
Yeah, fear.
Yeah.
It's this
Yeah.
terrible thing.
It's such a low vibration, isn't it?
It really is. It
I
really is.
sometimes ask myself, is this coming from a place of fear or a place of love? I remember somebody sharing with me that you either coming from a place of fear or a place of love, and that was just mind blowing to me. And if you take it back to that and ask yourself, is this love? Am I coming from a place of love? I mean, what a beautiful world would be in.
Yep.
If
Yeah,
we all
take that
felt
deep breath and ask the question.
Yeah.
Nice.
I ask myself that a lot every time you're talking to someone, like even my day job or whatever. You know, I just try to look, they're an individual part of the divinity, whatever you want to view it as, and you know, to try to just be more tolerant and calm.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Now that I run stuff, you know, you always get someone that goes, "Oh, I don't like that place," or there's always something. Someone's not happy about something, but you know, I just like brush it off now. It's like that's cool. That's their choice.
Well, you know, they don't have to go.
Yeah,
it's that simple, right? If if you're working hard to put an event together and it doesn't suit everybody, that's fine. Okay, you can vote with your feet or your wallet or whatever the case may be, and I think that's really important. Don't try and please everybody. You know, be Led Zeppelin, don't be the Bee Gees, right? Get out there and you make the music and make the music that's going to resonate and you know, create something beautiful.
So Trish made the comment earlier about the awake community standing up, but very few people actually did stand up, and very few people do stand up for what they know is not right. Why do you think that is, Jason?
I think part of it's apathy. I think there was more momentum 3 years ago because back in my prepper days, group days, we speculated if they returned us to normal on some level, and normal, I'm using in air quotes here, whether it'd kill a lot of the momentum we were building in the unjabbed groups back then, because I really felt things were slowly coming together, even the off-the-grid like markets and all sorts of other stuff, and there's people working toward that again. But I feel that the return to normalcy has just, most people have gone back to their normal day jobs, and, you know, the mandates are over. There's just we haven't got the gun pressed against the back of our head. And I think a lot of people have just gone back to what they were doing. And yes, they're probably keeping somewhat aware of stuff happening, and
A false
not as
sense
in
of
your face
security,
now.
maybe.
Yeah, so when you haven't got guns pointed your direction, but it's easy to have a false sense of security, and and they could pull that off at any time.
I agree. The other side of that, okay, you look at the health industry here in Western Australia, right? Now, the mandates took 4,000 nurses out of the system.
Yeah.
Okay? 4,000.
Outrageous.
People who have dedicated their lives to people's health, and a very, very positive thing, and a very, something very admirable, right?
Yeah.
Hard gig. I couldn't do it, right? Anyway, guess what? Here we are. It's been 5 years almost since they introduced all the campaign against us. And guess how many nurses we are short in WA hospitals?
4,000?
4,000.
Funny that.
Yes, isn't it interesting? So they've imported a lot of people, and people have gone back and all that sort of thing. But the reality is most of those who made that decision have stayed out and have retrained and moved into other.
And we have one of those on our
most
station.
definitely do, absolutely. Yeah, the lovely Faye, who's got a wonderful business, Soul Birth, that it's doing so much positivity to the whole process of birth and everything around it, right?
Yeah.
It is great, but it's a great segue on that, because honestly, this is a great thing about this. I thoroughly agree with you. We've lost a lot of momentum as far as we're not seeing 60, 70,000 people at rallies anymore. But what we've got now is we've got a lot more soldiers out there who are actually just talking to people, and we're actually getting into the community in a different way,
in a positive way,
in a very positive and more organic way. So when people were saying to me a couple of years ago, "Oh, we failed." Well, I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, we haven't. We're actually succeeding.
and evolving.
Yeah, we are. And if you look at the changes, because, government doesn't move quickly. Things don't move quickly. So you have to be in there for the long run. And being organic, and as far as the way that you put this forward, being part of these communities, growing this community. I am surrounded by amazing human beings that I didn't know 5 years ago, right?
Yes.
Boom to that, right? Okay.
Totally.
And boom to you too as well.
It's a great thing. So, look, I don't want people to lose hope because they're not saying, oh, there's 100,000 people doing this, or millions of people going to Canberra, or any of the ABC figures. Oh, look, 1,000 people, whatever.
What do you think makes a visionary, a true visionary?
Action. Because you can think it, but it means nothing unless you take that step forward and you actually make a change, right? People like yourself, mate. Jason, you've stepped up. You've made the change. You haven't just gone, well, it's me. You started a dating site. Might need your help.
I wasn't the starter.
Oh, you didn't start? Okay, there we go. I'm giving you some
But I've
credit
come
there.
out of it because I've been part of it, and I guess I always figured I'd find my life's purpose during this time, and not enough people are willing to stand up and lead anything. So
Why do you think that is?
But
Just
it
don't
took me a
know,
while.
yeah.
I mean, I've led a few things before, but you know, I was a bit introverted. I've had to work. I've parallel to my stuff in these groups. I've built myself up, my confidence, my ability to talk to people, all sorts of other stuff. So it's kind of gone hand in hand. But you know, I guess a lot of people, I have ambition to like grow the awake. I won't say unjabbed because I think awake in general.
Yeah.
Communities, and to keep it together, because I do think stuff's coming in some form. I don't know what form it is. At least the technocratic neo-feudal, maybe, but Trump's changing things. I mean, I don't know. But I do think, regardless, even if nothing happened and it was all perfect, I think it's good to know people and have a system of, like, just a good network of people outside the system. If you
Yeah,
need
no,
it.
I'm
So-
really glad that you said that, because I was thinking the last few days about this show today, and we cover a lot of topics on the one thing, but I was particularly passionate about this, and I've actually even got the Light newspaper here, because that's how Rachel and I actually came to be in contact. So
Big shout out to the Light.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big
Love our
shout out to the
association.
Light.
Yeah.
They are online if you don't have the physical copy,
Yep.
or they're
I see
Edge.
them at the laundromat, so...
Ah,
There you go. Well, you can always get them here, just so you know.
Okay.
But I was actually thinking about the I can't remember what I was thinking about now. I've lost the. Oh yes, I do know.
You do know?
Fill in for me for a moment. It's
you
like-
do,
it's gonna come.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Can somebody just amuse me?
I'll just say this.
Thinking.
Trish has just put a point up that I want to mention. You still have to be double jabbed to work in
Oh
aged
my
care.
goodness
Yes.
gracious me!
Oh, really? Okay.
Insane.
That's so wrong.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
To keep people safe,
Courage.
even though they're turbo cancers and all the dreadful illnesses that are just rolling out.
And a lot of this is being done by stealth. So a lot of government departments, you still have to be jabbed for. You can't get a promotion without jabbing. Are you kidding me? Like, again, this kind of stuff started
Very
5 years ago.
covert.
It is very covert and very, very disgraceful.
I went to do a course on TAFE recently, brand new TAFE built, and part of you had to show your vaccination. So you got all these young kids with these beautiful young minds.
Yep.
Have to go via the chemist and get their jab before they can start. I was like, what? This is the end of 2024. I was looking at this and I'm like,
my goodness,
what is this?
that just makes me
Like
so sad.
an
I'd like
unspoken.
to ask who's still getting it. I don't know, but there's people I know are probably getting them. So it's like,
Somebody's getting them.
Yeah, well, a lot of
It's
people.
sad.
It's just ka-ching, ka-ching
Yeah. Of
at
course it is.
people's...
But so it came back to me if anyone's really interested.
Yeah.
I am, yeah.
Come on,
Okay.
Lisa.
So it was courage, because what I was thinking is that you were saying that you're an introvert.
I was sort of, yeah.
Yeah, so I can be quite introverted for anybody that knows me well, but one of my strengths is I've always built communities. That just seems to be what I've done, even way before COVID. So I had a lot of awake people around me, and that's what gave me the courage and the strength to know that I wasn't going nuts. But if I had been feeling this way myself, but I didn't have another awake person to be able to confide in or to be able to lock arms with, then it would have been really, really hard. So I think awake communities are just so long as they're not excluding people, because I'm very passionate about that as well.
Yeah,
agreed.
But I just think that it's the future, and yeah, I'm just so passionate about them. But that's what came into my mind, was having people around you just to know you're not going nuts.
Yeah, the
Well,
whole
actually-
divide and conquer and what have you,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
connection is...
Reminds me of something I was going to bring up. Probably another thing I suppose is an offshoot of what I do is like support networks of people. Like people come, that we get new people all the time, and you know they haven't really been around other awake people. They've been doing it on their own.
Yep.
Some of them share their stories. But I do think having a awake group, maybe there's some out there I don't know of, just around supporting each other. I mean, it doesn't have to be about awake stuff, just day to day. I mean, life's hard enough without all this stuff.
It
And
is.
that-
Yeah.
You know, just
It is.
I've been to a few men's groups and stuff like that, are sort of awake ones that, you know, a bit about that, but it often devolves into talking to the conspiracy stuff, and I mean, you probably know how it goes.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, I think having awake women's and men's circles, for example, stuff like that.
You like having, you think that's important to have
Well,
men's circles and
it
women's
is because
circles, yeah.
you know, there's a lot of people still traumatized. Maybe we've all got a bit of PTSD.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
And, I do know there's a lot of people in our community that are hurting out there, and there's, bad stuff happening now, stuff like that. It'd be just good to have, people that are on the same page, a support network. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the one that's going to build that, maybe, but, I think if more of that was happening, I think that'd be a good thing.
In the middle of when the rallies were taking place, right, obviously our lives changed a lot at that time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would come to me and they would be saying, Aaron, can you fix this for me, this problem, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, and ultimately, look, in that situation, you are quite powerless. You really want to help the person, but you can't. I mean, you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the...
So they were coming to you because you were emceeing the rallies?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that why?
yeah. I literally, in a 20-hour period, I had 3,300 private messages, okay?
Wow.
Oh, geez.
Because you were a voice of reason when we're all sort of spinning, well, especially people that just woke up, you were a voice of reason, and it's like, oh, he must know what he's doing.
But which
and
is
then
very
we realise
sweet,
we're
but-
all in the same boat.
Yeah, we are all in the same boat. Where I was going on this is, to me, this is where things changed. Then I realised that, okay, our role, and each individual one of us, our role was actually to support each other.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because so many people came to me and go, oh my God, I was so alone. I didn't realise other people felt
Yes.
this way. And just to give them a shoulder to cry on, or just the fact that they felt, oh my God, there are more than just one of us.
Yeah.
So knowing and realising they're part of such a big community was really important. And for me, the shift came into the positivity of that, the fact of the solidarity. And I think that was really important. And I think that, I think still to this day, and this forgetting even about that, just in life in general, I think that's something we should do a lot more of in
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
We've got people out there. The suicide is a massive issue right now, a massive issue. People need to know that there's people out there who love them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love you,
We love
just in
you,
case you're
yeah.
wondering.
And that's why it's important for people, like there's 1,500 people in unjabbed events, but only a small fraction of them I mean, this is why it'd be great if more people came to events to meet other awake people. And,
Yes.
I know groups are like that in general. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what it is. I was in the writing community a lot, and there's thousands of people in that, but only a small fraction really talk or do
Which
anything.
group was that?
Just different ones, all
Motorbike
different
riding,
ones.
was that?
No, sorry, writing, like
Oh,
writing,
writing,
story
yeah.
writing. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Now, speaking of
Author.
which, would you
Oh,
like
yeah.
to share a little bit about your book?
Well, I've got 15 books. They're indie published, I guess you'd call
Jason,
it.
I haven't read 15 books. You've written them.
so
Come on.
impressive.
Well, I've written more, but they're not.
Oh.
But a lot of them warn of. I started writing 10 plus years ago now, warning about the cull of humanity, the coming technocratic neo-feudal tyranny, transhumanism. And I saw the transhumanist aspect early on in the COVID
Yeah,
stuff.
that's just
and-
being marched out, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
saw that long time ago.
There's a visionary.
Well, I don't know.
Yes.
It's in my head somewhere, I guess. But I read there was a Guardian news thing back in 2014, and I think it sort of set the stage for me. It was talked about the 2030s being the decade of annihilation. And I've tried to find this thing. I can't find it. They literally talked about how the elites would kill off most of the human race because they don't need us because of AI and other stuff.
Yeah,
And
nothing
this
to
would
see
happen
here,
in the
folks.
2030s. It talked about empty cities, like ones that weren't important to the then New World Order, I suppose. But yeah, I've tried to find it. If anyone could find it, put it in the comments or something.
was
That'd be
it
good.
called?
But
What
it
was
was
it
the
called?
Guardian newspaper. It was probably around 2014. I don't know what it was
Guardian
called, but
newspaper.
it talked about the 2030s being the decade of annihilation.
Right.
So I did have it in the back of my mind. They plan to reduce the human population. And I know environmentalists were saying that long before that, 95% of the human race to save the planet type stuff. So like I said, I came out of the far left, I guess. But so anyway, those things, I started writing. My first series I never released was post-apocalyptic in Perth, called World of Bones, and it was all about after the cull of humanity, and there was still a central government, and the elites were living in their bunkers, and they were going to reclaim the surface and
Right.
stuff. Anyway,
Oh,
just
that's heavy duty.
Yeah,
all,
pretty
all my
dark.
books involve that type of
No
stuff
wonder
in
he's
some ways.
introverted.
It's not bloody Dr.
Yeah,
Seuss,
yeah,
is it? Come on.
That's why it's scary during, like, are they doing it? Like the stuff I'd sort of written about, and
Yeah.
like, I didn't know what to believe. And, it was a time even with the vaccine, because there was that, I can't remember the name of it, where I think it's in chooks where if certain chooks don't have the vaccine, they'll die because the others create a virus or something. I can't even. Original pathogenic sin, something like that it's called.
Right.
And there was a theory that I think 𝐀𝐰𝐿 Bosch was pushing the idea that the jabs will make COVID worse and to kill, was it the unvaccinated? I can't even remember now, it was a while ago, another lifetime ago it seems. But, you know, I had the idea, if I was writing it as a dystopian dark book, I would make it seem the unjabbed are the good guys and they're winning.
Right.
But at the very end, it's revealed that the vaccine had something in it that's going to save them, and that it was the actual virus they release and kill the unjabbed, and the people that had the vaccine are saved from this. Yeah, it was pretty dark stuff.
Yeah.
On the writer.
And when did you write this?
I didn't write that one.
Yeah.
I was just thinking as a writer, it'd make it like the perfect twist at the end to turn it back on.
Well, thanks,
No,
Jason.
I don't like
You know, I might need some time alone if that's okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I had a lot of imagination. The mind of the writer could
look,
go any direction.
And good on you. I mean, there's people out there like Stephen King, whatever. That have these dark things that become great stories. And let's face it, most of Hollywood has been an instruction manual for a very long time. So,
and I think an incredible level of confront, Jason, to look at those things and write about them.
Yeah.
You know, most people are like, whoa, that's too much for me, including me. But I've found throughout this period, we have to raise our confront so we can take responsibility for what's going on and just out-create the situation. Do you think?
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
Yeah.
And really, you got to survive mentally, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Like if you're going down too many that's why I try to only go down a little bit, because I just think, you know, it was not good for my mind
Have
back
to
in
live a
2020.
parallel life, I feel.
Yeah.
And you've got to live a life of
above
happiness for yourself and value for yourself.
joy.
Yeah, joy.
Yes.
That simple little principle, right?
I know we're probably coming to the end of our time, but I just wanted to ask, you said that you left your job due to the mandates. And you're now doing other work. Is that
No, I'm back in the same.
Oh, you're
I
back
got-
in
yeah,
the same
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know whether you had to pivot.
Well, looking for
No.
work is very stressful to me, and they offered me work right away. So I thought, there's no I didn't want to prolong things, and
Yeah.
like, you know, it was already, you know, suffering the separation from my wife. I had to find somewhere to live. It was already bad enough, so I just
Yes.
went straight. And I enjoy my job. I'm a courier by
Yep.
day, so it's like I meet lots of people even in that job, and
Beautiful.
if it's ever the apocalypse, I know where we can pretty much get nearly anything we need.
Oh, that connection. It's fantastic.
Yes.
We are getting smarter, I believe.
Yeah, well, we've got
You
to,
know?
absolutely,
Yeah.
Freedom of the road's always good too.
Freedom of the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Lisa L. I think trust went out the window. How do we regain trust? Yeah, well, amongst ourselves, maybe, Lisa.
And I think if you know someone, if you like them, and they do what they say they're going to do, for me, that creates trust.
If they do what they say they're going to do, there you
Yes.
go. Nailed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Again,
It's not complex.
everything comes back to action, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, anybody can yada, 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 talk, whatever. But when they actually put it into action, they implement
Put their money
it.
where their mouth
Yep,
is.
it makes all the difference. No question about that. Another comment in from Trish. So many comments. Sorry, I'm slow on the old uptake here. Oh yeah. Well, hello. Yeah.
It is terrifying.
It is
yes,
absolutely
Trish.
terrifying. I can't use that word. Believe it or not, I can't use that word because that'll actually pull all the feeds down. But we can actually see that. No joke. You
Stop
can't
it,
use that
Trish.
word. So Trish, we know.
We understand.
But thanks very much for that.
Such a circus, Trish.
It really
We're
is.
in Australia, you just go, oh, crikey. We're up shit creek.
Lovely to see you, Faye there. Great
Oh,
conversation.
did you
Thanks
hear us
everyone.
give you a shout out, Faye?
Yeah, we gave her a shout out
We
earlier.
gave
I
you
don't
a
think
shout
she's-
out, Faye.
I think I've seen her
Soul
profile
birth.
on Facebook or comment or something. Yeah.
Oh, well, you can catch your show, of course,
Perth is
every
a
week.
small
Come
town.
here.
We're starting to know each other.
We are.
You know, it's
Yeah.
Well, I see
lovely.
people I know all the time because between my job, meeting lots of people and these groups, I run into people regularly. So
Yeah,
it's like a
fantastic.
country town.
Yes.
Yeah.
What, with how many million? Couple of million?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
That's
but the
just
career
a
thing is a
weekend.
lot of fun. Like, it's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
fun. Yeah, you get to meet all sorts of people. I gave it a go for a bit. I used to do it one day a week. Loved it. For me, it was just an ability to drive like a lunatic and get away with it. So, yeah, I loved it.
Yes, I have been in the car with you, but you are an organised lunatic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you
It's
do go
controlled
very
lunacy.
fast, but I feel safe.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
All right. And on that bombshell, I think we should end the show. Thank you, Jason, for being part of the show, mate. Really, really
thanks
great,
for the
great to have you
opportunity.
here, mate. And I hope we can do some stuff in the future as well, because I think you're a very switched-on guy. The stuff that you were talking about before, out of my pay grade, telling you right now. As I said,
And those books, where can we see those books?
yeah.
Oh, they're on Amazon. Maybe stick away from the series called Raid Slayer because it's let's just say they're naughty books. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they're the first ones to grab.
Everybody's going to want to go look. I was actually going to ask anybody that is watching this, please send me the links of your awake groups. And Jason, if
that
you
would be
could please give
terrific.
me any links that you've got for any awake groups,
Okay.
because people may be listening to this and feeling a little bit lonely and they want to connect with the community.
Okay, I'll send links.
And I'll certainly put it should be on there anyway, Worldwide Awake Business Network as well. Business and Social Network we are now, Aaron.
We are indeed. Look at that. And I'll just, what we're all doing is I may as well say, hey, it's going out to a singles site. I'm single. So any gorgeous girls out there, 35 up. Give me a call. PM, DM, whatever you need to do.
Property, folks, hot property.
Why not, right?
What are you looking for?
What am I looking for? That's a whole other show.
Excuse
Sorry,
me,
I should add,
Jason.
if don't look up my name on Amazon because they're not my books. I write under a pen name called Riley Morrison. So yeah.
Riley Morrison?
Riley Morrison.
Okay.
And that guy,
Okay.
my name. So
All
yeah.
right.
Thanks.
And are you
Love it.
single as well? Do you want to do a shout out?
Give us a plug.
Yeah, well, I'm single and haven't been looking at. I've mostly been focused on the big picture stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Another single man who can survive the apocalypse.
There we go. Exactly right.
Just saying.
Could Aaron survive? Well, Aaron could cook.
I can cook, absolutely.
He can put the tripod together. He did
Got the
that for
gift
me
of the
earlier.
gab. So
Oh, look.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
Rachel,
actually-
we should start a dating show.
There's an idea.
There's an idea.
That's an idea.
Yeah,
I'm sitting
comments for anyone that wants to be on a dating show, just sing on out. Awake community.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to end it on that. Thank you so much for being part of The One Thing here at Edge Radio Australia.